So, hi everyone who's watching on the recording. So, for those who don't know me, I am Anwyn Cooper from Get Fruitful Marketing, and I'm really excited today to be joined by Hazel Addley from Hazel Addley Coaching. Say hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So, this is a bit of an experiment for both me and Hazel, trying a sort of live conversation, which we are recording as we go along. And it's going to be fairly informal and a bit free flow, but we do have a loose structure. So I will just do a little introduction to explain what we're going to be doing. And then I'll introduce Hazel and we'll go from there. So we're going to talk for about half an hour, and we're going to start off talking about our lessons learned from 5 years in business, because both Hazel and I started our businesses around the same time. And I think 5 years is quite a pivotal point in business. A lot of businesses fail in the first 5 years, and that's quite a well-known fact and statistic. So, we're quite excited that we've got to this point and we've survived this long. And I think we've got lots of experience and insights that we'd like to share from the last 5 years. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat about that to start off with, and then we're going to move into the title of this conversation, which is your business missing something vital? So obviously I'm coming from a marketing perspective, and I'll introduce Hazel properly in a moment, but she's coming from a coaching perspective, and we've both got our own thoughts on what the most important things are that you need to have in place for a successful business. So we're going to be talking about that as the main part of the conversation today. And then at the end, we are both going to just briefly talk about things that we've got coming up that we'd like to share with you. And we've each got a special offer for you as well. So to start off with a proper introduction for Hazel, and then Hazel, I'll let you introduce yourself and fill in the gaps if there's anything I miss. Really excited to be talking to Hazel because she has been an amazing personal development journey, and I've been privileged to kind of watch that. I've known Hazel through networking, and I've been following her online for a while as well. So I've seen how she has grown and applied a lot of the lessons that she's been learning from her practice to herself. And she is trained in a methodology called EAM, which is Energy Alignment Method. And she is one of a small group of people, I think it's probably much larger now, and growing group of people who are EAM mentors. She is also a life coach and a speaker and a blogger and a podcast host. And she has been a finalist in Kent Women in Business Awards for Startup Business of the Year. And she is also a qualified coach. She has a diploma in personal performance coaching with the Coaching Academy. So she has lots of amazing accreditations and experience behind her. She's worked with hundreds of businesses, and she is on a mission to work with lots more, I believe. That's as much as I'm going to say about Hazel for now. Hazel, do you want to say a bit more about yourself? Is there anything I missed?
That sounds really great. So I was one of the first 15 Energy Alignment Method mentors in the world, and there is now about 75 mentors. Actually, you reminded me, I was a finalist for the Kent Women in Business Award for Innovation this year.
Oh yeah,
which I was really,
I'm reading your old file. So you need to update it. And
I know my website. This is like one of the things, keep your website up to date, which I haven't done. So naughty me. And the reason I mentioned Innovation Award, because when I was kind of filling out my application and looking at all the pieces that I've done on my own personal development journey and then fusing together to be part of my coaching offering, I actually did get to become a finalist just based on that. And so I am really excited that what I am doing has been considered by others as being innovative for a coach, because there are so many wonderful coaches out there. It was really nice to know I'm doing something different. So I specialize in fusing energy mentoring and life coaching and mindset coaching and personal development all together to give a kind of very bespoke, unique approach to managing yourself and creating a really firm foundation for yourself, as that you can then springboard off into your business and show up in your business in a much more powerful way. And that's what I'm really
excited. Do you want to talk
about.
a little bit more about the kinds of people that you work with? Because you work a lot with business owners, don't you?
Yeah, I work predominantly with business owners, usually women. Sometimes it's people that are new in business, sometimes people that are very established in business, but find they're reaching a plateau where certain things crop up again and again that are maybe sabotaging them, maybe things in their personal life. It may be things about how they work, how they show up, where they're ultimately self-sabotaging, even though it might not feel like it, because it might be external things that keep cropping up. But it's in how you are reacting to that and how that's impacting on you that can affect how you then, what the energy you then are able to bring to your business, and how consistently you can keep showing up in a good energy for your business. And yeah, it's often people who are feeling lost or stuck or just are going around in circles and don't know how to break the cycles that are happening so that they can then move from that level up to the next level in their business.
Yeah. I think that's why we resonate quite well, is because obviously a large part of my work is also helping people to step up in their business. And that might be people who are new, sort of starting out and just kind of need a hand with launching. But it can also be people who have been working for a while in their business and want some support to get to the next stage. So I think, there's a lot of synergy between what we both do, but coming at it from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So
I totally agree.
Shall we talk a little bit now about your journey over the last 5 years and some of the lessons that you've learned along the way?
Sure, yeah. When you gave me the challenge of considering it, there was so many. So my journey has been very bumpy, very bumpy. Lots of not U-turns exactly, but going up roads that I realized partway up the road that wasn't where I wanted to be going, and having to do U-turns or be creative about where I took things from there. So it's been lots of kind of what felt like full starts but never were, because there's always learnings, there's always value to be had from any avenue you take in your business. But the big part of it for me was actually the internal personal journey I've had whilst running my business and whilst exploring how to run a business and learning on the job how to do it. And I didn't realize actually until a couple of years ago when I was doing the energy mentoring, because I took part as a participant and then became a mentor, was that I'd been experiencing a lot of anxiety. But I didn't know until I quite naturally through the training cleared a load of it. And when I looked back, I'd been operating my business predominantly from a place of overwhelm and stress and fear. And the personal development work I've done had been about recognizing this state I was showing up in my business and actually working consciously to undo that. And that's sort of, I'll try and keep it brief because I could talk for ages about this, but it's been really that consciousness raising of, oh, I was showing up stressed every day at my desk and with this immense pressure on my shoulders and this weight. And that has been one of the biggest things that I've learned, is to actually notice how I'm showing up, notice what I'm telling myself and how I'm feeling. I don't think we talked about this when we were talking about our ideas, but that's the number one thing for me, is how am I feeling today? What energy, what vibe, what thoughts am I putting onto these tasks I'm planning to do today, or about my business goal as a whole? So that's the biggest thing that I've learned how to manage in a very proactive way with the toolkit I've got.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, when we spoke before today, just preparing, we made some notes about some of our lessons learned, didn't we? And we talked a little bit how our experiences have been similar, but from our own perspectives, obviously. But there's lessons in common, I suppose, that we've both had. I'm just going to reflect back a couple of the things that you've highlighted for me, which sort of resonated for me. So one was about resilience, and that you've talked a bit about how you've had some sort of twists and turns
Mm.
along the way so far, and you've had to think about sort of the direction that you're going in, as of backtracking maybe sometimes, or going down a different path. So I think, yeah, the word resilience came up for me, and sort of thinking about how you manage that. So do you have a top tip?
For resilience, I guess my top tip, because it's a mixture of things, like for me, my resilience comes from my sheer stubbornness. And my stubbornness, like to do this thing, and my stubbornness comes from the passion I have for what I'm doing and for what I desire to do with the people I want to work with, the change I want to create in the world, the possibilities I would like to bring to the right people who are the right clients for me. That passion that I have and that stubbornness is what for me has created the resilience. It's like when you work with a coach, they often call it your big why, the reason why you're doing this. And so it can be any of those things: passion, your why, but knowing that and really tuning into this, making sure what you're doing is what you really want to do firstly, and really feeling into that, so that, because I'll do almost anything to be able to do this work. This is my passion for life. This is like my love, and that gives me resilience because I'm stubborn enough to not want to do anything else, and so I'll do what it takes. So I don't know if that makes sense. It's not exactly a tip, but it's making sure what you're doing is what you really want to do, and knowing why.
Yeah. And yeah, I think there's something about being just really clear on what it is that you're passionate about, what it is that your purpose is, and just constantly reminding yourself of that. And that's very much where I start when I'm working with clients, or running a program like the Caesar Success program. That is the foundation for me. So we do an exercise on passion and purpose, and also principles. And I know you do that, but you call it core values, or a lot of people will call it brand values when you're applying it in a business context.
Yes.
But it's just being really clear on what are the things that are important to you about the way that you work, who are the people that you want to help as well and serve and work with. And being really clear on your passion and purpose is absolutely fundamental, and not losing sight of that, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think the thing that comes alongside that with me is also how you're showing up with it. So for me, I think it sort of touches on values. The values for you tie into the standards that I work with my clients in my Power Up program, to create really clear standards and boundaries for how you want to work. So one of the lessons I learned was that I was showing up and trying to work. I use the word trying deliberately, because I was trying to work in ways that I thought I should work in my business. And so I was attempting to create the business I thought other people thought I should have, from how it was run behind the scenes. And one of the key lessons for me is about actually learning that I really am required to set up the business and run it in the way that works for me and my nature and my own standards, which create my own boundaries around who I'll work with, when I'll work with them, what I'll offer. And that has been a massive learning for me in the more recent years in my business and life, actually, because everything I do transcends to the whole life. So yeah, values, standards, we have crossovers in some of these things, but coming from different perspectives, because mine's always about about the you piece, but it translates into the whole piece of business as well, and marketing.
Yeah, so important. And that really resonates for me as well, because I see a lot of other marketing people out there who have a sort of template that they work with, or they're selling a blueprint for marketing, and it's like, okay, follow these 10 steps and away you go. And you see it a lot with online marketing. You just set up a funnel on a sales page, and write your copy like this and lay it out like that, and automatically you'll get sales. And I just don't believe in that. Like, I'm not convinced it will always work. It might work for certain businesses at certain times, with certain audiences, certain products at certain price points. But if you
Mhm.
start to play around with those variables, it doesn't necessarily translate. And also, even if it does work, you know, from a theoretical point of view, it just doesn't necessarily feel authentic and honest. And that just
Yeah.
feels uncomfortable and icky for me. So yeah, I really like to work with people on very bespoke marketing plans that reflect their unique personality and their unique passion and purpose, and are very tailored to their preferences as well. You know, not everyone would be comfortable doing something like this, like a video call. Some people, you know, don't even want a photograph of themselves on the website, and you know, sometimes that's okay. Sometimes I'll try and push
Yeah.
people beyond their comfort zone
Mhm.
and make them, you know, more visible, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case for every business.
Well, that ties into another one of my key.
Oh, I've lost you for a sec. Hello? You have frozen. Oh,
Oh, we
oh,
lost
back.
each other temporarily. So what I was saying was, as the business owner, you are enough. Now, I didn't realize that I am enough, and who I am, how I am is enough to create the right output marketing wise, and the right products for the right clients for my business, the right clients for me, as I'm a solopreneur. So I used to think I'd have to look different and have like bouffanty curly hair and be more girly, and maybe not swear, and I swear a lot now because I'm just being more natural. And what I found is the more me I am and the more natural I am, the more I appeal to the people that are my ideal clients, or the right clients for resonating for my work. So that's a big personal journey I went on with body image, as a massive thing in the last couple of years with the energy work, where I used to be very ashamed of how I looked, which then naturally translated into not allowing myself to have the photos taken or to do some of the live things, or if I did them I was so tense because I was wearing a dress that I actually hated but thought I should wear. So yeah, it's if you're resistant to being seen, there's probably some work to do, mindset and energy wise, to clear some of that stuff, because it's resistance, and resistance is not helpful for going forwards in a positive way.
And that's why I'm really pleased to be able to kind of point people in your direction, because you know, often I am encouraging people to put themselves out there more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, encouraging them to have branding photos done and put photos of themselves up and do videos and do public speaking and things like that. Like I say, it's not right for every business, but often that is the case. And just because I say as a marketer you should do that and that would be a good thing for your business, doesn't necessarily mean that they take that on board. And yeah, quite often people do feel really uncomfortable about it, and it's really great if I can then sort of suggest that they work with you, because that's not really an issue that I can help with. But definitely I think
Yeah.
that's something that you can help people overcome, that kind of resistance and fear and anxiety in the work that you do.
Yeah, because I think people don't understand is that there's something called being in the flow state, which is, this is my very basic explanation, but energy wise, mindset wise, emotion wise, ideally you want to be in a flow state so that everything you're doing is positively focused towards what you want to create, and it kind of, when you're in that state, it flows really naturally. When you're in resistance, which is the opposite, you are fighting yourself, you're fighting the flow, and so you're making everything harder, and your clients pick up on this. They don't have those words for it, but they pick up on the fact that you're hesitating, you're just not showing up in that. It's like it's something under the surface that they subconsciously pick up on, and that will be sort of jeopardizing or sabotaging your business efforts. So if there are resistances, fears, stresses, they are things to be addressed, in my mind, energetically and mindset wise, so that they're eliminated. And it can be really quick. It doesn't have to be a long-winded counselor like thing where you talk for hours. It's literally I use a very simple technique, and it changes things very quickly, so that you actually quite naturally are more in a flow state and are benefiting from all of that kind of positivity across your whole business and life.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I feel like we could talk about this all evening. You know, our lessons learned from 5 years in business. I'm going to write a blog about mine. I don't know if that's something you might do at some point, but when I get around to it, I will post and share that link. And yeah, I hope we carry on this conversation another time. But thank you for sharing that. But let's move on now to our topic for this evening, the main part of our conversation, which is going to be about, is your business missing something vital? So we've obviously had a bit of a conversation before now about that idea, and it kind of stemmed out of the fact that I am talking a lot with Seeds to Success about the 10 vital ingredients that you need to make your marketing fruitful. And I'm just doing a blog every couple of days at the moment about each of those 10 ingredients. And they're things that I just think are really fundamental to make sure that your marketing works well. And then through a conversation with you, you were talking about how you see that there's like 3 sides to business, and the foundation of that is you as the business owner or the person running the business. Marketing is one side, and obviously that's kind of where I can come in. And then there's another side, which is the sort of nuts and bolts side of whatever the business is about. So I was really interested to hear you talk a little bit more about that triangle and how you see your work fitting into that.
Yeah, so often what I found is that we can get very caught up in, got to run the business, got to get the marketing done, got to deal with the clients, all the pieces. And there's so many pieces. They're just marketing, as you know. There's all the P's, the promotion, publicity, all of that. There's so much. And with the business part, there's structure, legal, staffing, business planning, all sorts. And the piece that I find that people miss is the you piece. They don't, as an entrepreneur, a business owner, even as a manager, we often don't invest as much into you as the business owner, as the human, the person behind the business. And so if you imagine it's a triangle with marketing on one side, business on another, and you as the bottom piece, if you don't have that you piece invested in, it collapses. But equally, if you don't invest in your marketing or don't invest in the business structures and nuts and bolts, it collapses. So it's really important to have all 3 invested in time, focus, energy-wise, planning-wise, and be consistent with all of those. The U piece is obviously, like you said, where my expertise lies. It's a massive topic, but just to give you some of the sort of the themes that come into the U piece. Energy, obviously. So for those who are not familiar with energy, I don't mean get up and go energy. I mean energy in a sense of it's physics. Everything is energy. There's been a lot of research into it, the HeartMath Institute, and lots of scientists now researching and proving the concepts that spiritually have been known for eons and eons and eons. So, but your energy is that lump in your throat, that pit in your stomach when you're nervous about something. It's how you are being before it reaches your mind and your mindset. So it's your energy, it's your mindset, which is your thoughts, your beliefs, and these things form how you create anything in your life and business. So if you have resistances, like I mentioned earlier, in any of those towards the topics to do with your business, you're going to be sabotaging somehow, or you're going to be making your business life harder. So actually working on your energy, your mindset, your emotions as well, and your physical body and your behaviors. If you are able to become conscious of all these things, and if you have a practical way of addressing the sticking points in each of those to do with your business or the things that impact on your business, that would be really helpful to the whole triangle. But it's not just business focused. A lot of people don't realize that if you have a sticking point in an area of your life, say you've got a tricky relationship going on, you've got a health issue, or something with your environment, whatever it is, maybe it's baggage from childhood that repeats periodically and knocks you off your feet. All these things impact on how you show up in your business, consciously or subconsciously. So they're all things that you can tackle in the U-piece. But it also is stuff like self-care, setting really good quality, high standards for yourself and your boundaries. It's knowing your goals personally and professionally. It's a whole massive piece. So I focus on a lot of this in my Power Up program, and I have a self-care, self-love program as well. But ultimately it's about how you're being and how you're showing up in your life and business. And there's things like, you've obviously heard of self-sabotage, but there's also something called a glass wall or ceiling, where you'll have an energetic ceiling and you will only let yourself progress in any one area of your life up to that ceiling. And if you get up to there, say you have an amazing opportunity to collaborate with someone that you've never thought, but you always dreamed you might get to collaborate with, say Oprah, I don't know, you get the opportunity to collaborate with Oprah, that might be well above your self-imposed energetic glass ceiling. Somehow, if that opportunity came up and your glass ceiling is below it, you will find a way to sabotage it. It might be in a different part of your life. You might suddenly come down with the worst flu, or there'll be something will come up that will stop you taking that opportunity if you've hit your glass ceiling, because you'll bounce off and come back down. So there's lots of these elements to the U-piece about really being able to be masterful in how you show up. Yeah, I can waffle all day about this because it's my happy place.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So yeah, it's about, I guess, overcoming limitations that we put on ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, helping people reach higher.
Yeah, we have infinite potential.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about what I do. Is I see what I do is helping people to reach the fullest potential for their business. And you know, a lot of marketing is about setting goals and targets for growth in your business. So that might be income targets, you want to earn more money, or it might be other numbers like number of customers or number of clients that you want to work with, or it might be around launching something new, a new product or a new service, or reaching out into a new market. And that requires people to have an ambition and a vision for themselves in the future, kind of doing something that they're not currently doing.
Yeah.
And that's what I love helping people kind of push beyond kind of where they are now to get somewhere further along, or step up somehow. And a lot of personal resistance comes up sometimes. Sort of just don't believe in themselves, they don't feel like they can do it, they're not sure it's possible, and quite often they don't even have, I call it poverty of ambition or poverty of imagination, is that they sometimes don't even have that idea that they could even launch that thing or raise their prices or reach out to that market, because it's just not a thing that's in their consciousness. People are often very limited by what they've done in the past or what they're doing currently. And I like helping people overcome that, but I'm sort of limited in terms of how far I can go with people, because they have to be up for it to kind of want to work with me and to engage on my programs or work with me.
Fuses so well with what I do, because what I've noticed, and I think we've discussed this before, is that you can do all the work on your marketing planning, you can do all the work to get to that point, but if you've got those blocks or resistances in like glass wall or ceiling, or your edge of your comfort zone, or if you're not allowing yourself to be fully all in to go for your vision, or even allowing yourself to embrace a new vision that will work better for you, then you are kind of in resistance on those topics. So your energetic resistance, your barrier is there. And so that's when people don't actually take the actions that they've said they're going to do to get to those goals. and I've done this a lot myself, which is why I know about this stuff inside out, because you've got to, you mentioned pushing to get to those things, and with my work it's about eliminating the push, because it can seem like a push, because get through it, push yourself to get there, like, but actually when you do the energy piece on the marketing and on the business, and you release the resistances energetically from those things, it's not a push, it's a gentle flow and expansion. You eliminate the push and you're actually able to just step into it and expand. It's so much mentally easier.
Yeah.
And you are growing as a person as you do this, and your world just expands. It's quite remarkable how it happens. It's really hard to explain without trying it, but it just doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah, that is nice. About, that feeling.
Yeah, and it's about being conscious and up for it. It's about being like, to people I work with want to be better, want to do better, and are willing to look at themselves. Say, what am I doing? This is my responsibility. I'm responsible for my business. I'm responsible for my results. I'm responsible for how I show up. And it's how I show up that's the first piece, really. So it's taking that responsibility. So if you're not getting the results you want, if you're not managing, this is the piece most people don't see about themselves, is that when people don't get the results, sometimes it's because they need to do more trial and error, obviously, and that's part of it. But often people don't actually take the actions they said they were going to take to even start the process. Or they hit one challenge and back right off, like they've hit the glass wall or ceiling. And that's where the energy piece again comes in. It's like, what has come up for you? What fear has surfaced? What belief has surfaced? What old pattern of behaviour or thinking has run in, put a hood over your head and gone, no, not going to let you do this, put the blinkers right on, stop, be safe. But you think you've taken the actions. You think you've shown up, but actually you haven't. You edged towards it and then you backed away.
Yeah.
And then you just thought about it a lot, and then went and got busy doing something else. And then you wonder why you haven't got the results. So it's the energy and mindset piece underpins everything, along with self-care standards, self-love, like really looking after you in the mix. Those for me are so vital to the marketing and to the results and to the business piece as a whole.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to juggle, and I think you kind of touched on that feeling of overwhelm. That when you're running a business, you're having to think about yourself and managing yourself. And I've heard that phrase sometimes that people say, you're like the worst boss. I can't remember how people say it, but you can be your worst enemy when you're your boss sometimes. Sometimes working for another person is actually easier because we beat ourselves up so much, and we have very high expectations and often feel like we're never measuring up to them. So I've lost my train of thought now, but you're managing yourself, you're managing your time. It's very easy to let your business kind of take over your life. It's not like a traditional job where you're going in and working 9 to 5 and the office shuts and everyone goes home. So you've got all of that stuff to manage: your energy levels, your mindset, your time, relationships with other people, your vision for your business. And then
it sounds like a lot
all the marketing stuff, and that's another thing that people feel overwhelmed with, because they've got to do their website and their social media and go networking and write copy and emails, and there's so much stuff. I think people feel like they need to be.
It doesn't have to be overwhelming, though. Ultimately, like, firstly, that's a resistance and a belief that you can release energetically, but it's also one of the things I've learned is, like with marketing, is to just be focused on one thing at a time. And yes, there's lots of layers and bits and bobs in the mix, but to really have one developmental focus at any one time. So for me, this last week has been doing this call and things around this, and have just like, don't be doing too many things at once. Just pick your focus and make that your primary thing. So maybe one business thing, one marketing thing, one personal thing. I don't know. You'd have to find the mix that's right for you. but it doesn't have to be everything at once, and you definitely don't have to do everything that everybody says you should do to be successful, because that's a surefire way to fail.
Something that I see a lot of people struggling with is they either do everything because they feel like they need to try everything, or there's an expectation that they need to do lots of things, or they do nothing because they just don't know where to start, or maybe they've already got clients and customers coming through, so they don't feel like they need to be promoting themselves, or they'll do a few things, and that can either be that they're testing out a few things, or they found the things that work for them. And I think that's ultimately where you want to be, right? You just want to find a few things that work well for you, that you're comfortable doing. But I think when people are in that kind of doing nothing state, and they've kind of lost momentum, or they're just feeling so overwhelmed they don't even know where to start, or they're in the overwhelm, I'm doing everything phase, it's often all very well saying, well, just pick like one thing to focus on, or pick 2 or 3 things that you like doing. I think sometimes people just need somebody to come in from an outside perspective and give some guidance and observe what they're doing, and sort of reflect back to them, okay, well, I can see that you're here, I understand that you want to get here, so this is my suggestion to you to get from here to here, that you should be doing X, Y, and Z. And I think that's what I'm really good at doing, what I really enjoy doing, is just
you're like the boss at doing it. You're so masterful at it.
But I think you do that also for people for the you piece, and I kind of do it for the marketing piece. And some people just need that. Like some people can kind of muddle along on their own and work it out for themselves, and that's cool. But I think a lot of us just need that outside perspective sometimes when you're just
I know with the you piece, there's something called your blind spot, where you can't always see how you are being or behaving. So you might not notice that you've got a sabotaging behavior going on, that you just kind of take for granted, because it's just how you are. And how you are can all be gently nudged into being productive how you are, rather than unproductive how you are. But the blind spot often takes somebody else to show it to you, and it's not necessarily comfortable. The you piece can often be about leaning into the edges of your comfort zone, leaning into discomfort, but in a way that's really loving and supportive to yourself. And I think with the marketing, I mean, I heartily recommend working with professionals, because I've done this where I've done every single thing I could possibly do and burn out. So having people who can actually highlight really to optimize your time and energy, actually working with somebody else who's a marketing professional is just, it's invaluable. And you can say, oh, I don't have the money, but how much money are you losing by all the time and energy you're putting into doing lots of things that aren't strategically positioned to get you where you want to go? I think with all the pieces, working with a professional is really valuable and actually essential from my perspective.
Yeah, I agree totally. Listen, I would love to carry on talking. There's so much more we could say, but we've already gone over the time that we allocated, so I think we should try and wrap this up. If people want to connect with you, find out more about your work, do you want to just say how they can find you?
Yeah, so I have a website, Hazel Addley Coaching. I'm in the process of updating it, but there is a website where you can see my blog posts and some information about me, and that will be updated very soon, in the next week or two. So but there's also, the best way to actually find me is my Facebook page, Hazel Addley Coaching. So I'm on there every day, every other day, and I also have a Facebook group called Embrace Your Power, and you're very welcome to join on there too. I'm very active in there. Probably the best ways. I'm also on Instagram and YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. I do everything, but I don't put lots of energy into everything. Facebook is where I put my focus.
Do you want to say a little bit about your podcast as well?
Oh yeah. I've had the summer off, so I'm literally just been. So I do a personal development podcast called Conversations Amongst Friends, Life, Health, the Universe, and Everything. And it's with my co-host Cesar Azunian and myself. We're both energy mentors, and we have a guest. Normally, most times we have a guest, and what we realized was that we have lots of conversations, and we realized there was like gold in those conversations, and that we'd actually quite like to share some of the conversations with other people who would like to hear those topics. So it is kind of anything and everything, but the theme underlying it is self-development, personal growth, living a better quality of life, getting more from life. So it's the you piece again, but in another form. We're releasing them every 2 weeks. You can find them on YouTube on Conversations Amongst Friends, or on Podbean as well.
Cool. Thank
with the
you.
same name, Conversations Amongst Friends. Yeah.
Cool. So just finally, we are both going to share this video, I think, on our respective Facebook pages and groups. And we both have a special offer for each other's audiences. So should we just quickly talk about that? But we'll be posting more information on our pages and on our groups for people who want to know more. But I am offering a special offer for my Seed to Success program, which is an online group program which starts on Monday the 30th of September. It starts off with a 30-day intensive video series, which can be done at any time in your own time. Basically, you get a 10-minute video every day, Monday to Friday, for 30 days, which guides you through a process to create a marketing strategy and plan for your business. And then there is a monthly theme which follows on from that, from November through to February. So it's initially kind of planned out as a 5-month course. It will become an ongoing monthly membership group, so it will continue beyond those 5 months. But initially, I'm getting people to enroll for 5 months, and I'm doing a special offer for Hazel's people. And do you want to say a little bit about Power Up?
Yeah, so the Power Up program is the you piece. It is Power Up You, Power Up Your Business. It is a 5-week program. I produce a workbook with videos each week, and it covers topics such as really knowing your core values, which are so vital to the decision making in your life and business, having really clear clarity on what it is that you are creating, and there's so many bits that to it, like boundaries as well, and standards, and which are all part of manifesting and creating what you're desiring. And I teach you how to do the energy piece, which in itself is the best tool I've ever learned in all my forays into personal development. I teach you the basics of how to use that. This piece is what I believe are the essential missing pieces from the business part of life, really. You need to have these pieces to be able to step into doing the marketing in a more powerful way, and to be able to step in to doing the nuts and bolts of your business in a more powerful way. So it ties in really nicely, but it also gives you the tools that can be applied over your whole life. So it's hugely beneficial. And there's also weekly 15-minute one-to-one Q&A calls, so you get a little bit of time with me every week just to iron out the creases and the things that are coming up for you. So I help you maybe see some blind spot stuff that's coming up, which is hugely useful. So it's very exciting.
Great, thank you. So let's wrap up there. It's been great talking to you, Hazel. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully we'll do this again sometime, another day. Cool, I'm going to stop the recording there. Thank you.
Bye.